here we are a year and a half later with the Chevette. This thing has missed a year and a half worth of events. But the car is on the ground and we are ready to roll.
All right, we said a year and a half. It was a year and 3 months.
Close enough.
But
It's been a long time.
it's done.
Finally.
It is done.
So we did a lot on this thing.
First of all,
No more broken door handle.
well, the other side's still broke because I hadn't fixed it yet. But
Well, we're not over there, so no more broken door
why don't we
handle.
enlighten the people on the Chevette-ness of the door handle situation?
Okay, so Chevette, right?
That looks like a regular G-body S10, pretty much anything 80s Chevrolet door handle.
Yes, so you cannot get a Chevette door handle.
2-door. 4-door you can. 2-door you cannot.
Right. Okay, so 2-door you can't get. So this is for a S10 G-body, everything that is not Chevette.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to you and your great engineering skills, we had the door apart and got this bad boy to fit in there, and it works like a charm. Also, there was something crazy going on with the body and the door, and you used to have to like pick up on the door and like slam it hard to shut it. Oh, cut that out. Boom, she shuts. No more having to lift up on the door to close it. Also, we took out the old gauges that were in here. It used to have gauges in the middle of the dash and then where the cluster goes. So we took those out, put in the new Holley digital dash.
That is a Holley Pro Dash, the 6.86 deal. It's
And
pretty
then-
neat. It's got all kinds of different stuff. We've got the oil pressure, battery voltage, the carburetor fuel pressure, water temp, the nitrous fuel pressure, and the nitrous bottle pressure, which leads you to...
We got nitrous.
Ta-da! So,
I'll show you that under the hood here in a minute.
so we got new switch panel.
Yep, new switch panel. It used to be down in the center above the radio, which now we have two plugs, which if you open that, one of them, are they both a USB or is one a
No, the
cigarette?
one on the left is USB, the other one is like a cigarette power outlet deal.
And then the little button to the right is a mode switch for our transmission controller to be able to toggle back and forth between the two different modes on our transmission controller.
So kind of backtrack a little bit. This had a turbo 350 in it.
Yeah.
We pulled that out and we put an early style 4L60E in it.
Yeah.
Out of like a Blazer, early model, like early 90s Blazer. And Mr. Wendell's Motorsports built that deal. It is full of
all the good Sonnax parts.
Anything and everything Sonnax. Estimate that thing's probably good to 700 or 800 pound, or 700 or 800 horsepower on a pretty easy day. So pretty excited about that. It's got it does have the stock planetary gear set in it. We didn't want to change the gear set in it, trying to get that low first gear to get this thing out of the hole, because hashtag no torque. But it's got the aftermarket drum in it. It's got all the good stuff. So if you have any more interest in that, we did put out a video whenever we were at Wendell's, putting the transmission together. Kind of went over everything that we got for it, what was going in it.
It's pretty neat, all the stuff that they sent us.
Sonnax is pretty innovative when it comes to all things transmission, but especially 4L60.
Yeah.
So.
And then we got a new to us Chevette dash put in here, that we had to make fit around the roll bar. And then we got a Chevette console.
Yep.
Talk about hard to find that.
Here, I'll go around the other side.
So,
funny story, when we actually we had this hood done. That's off a different car. We looked and looked and looked, trying to find a hood. Could not find one, but we found a guy in East Texas that had
a whole nother car.
Had a whole car.
We bought a whole car to get a hood. Well,
so we called our buddy Derek out there, East Texas. And by the time we got done, we left with a ton of stuff off of one of them. And we actually bought a whole nother car, which we keep stealing parts off of.
Sorry, Derek.
So I'm part owner of that deal. We were going to build a no prep car out of that at one point, and I think we have both gone through about 4 race cars since we decided to do that, and none of those have been that car. So
and we keep robbing parts off of it for this thing. So
but yeah, so
the
dash came out of, I think, the parts car.
Yeah.
But it's in really good shape. It's, other than where I drilled holes for the roll bar, no cracks in it or nothing like that.
Yep.
We had to paint it. It was blue.
Yep.
But we got that done.
And then the console.
The bottom half of this is actually out of your car. This is...
Yeah, that was my car.
The sun's gonna be clear. So the bottom actually is the original to the car. We freshened it up a little bit, painted it. It's got the cheesy Amazon radio still in it. We just took a piece of carbon and covered up where the other switch panel was. She was saying that button is mode A or mode B. So we put an HGM transmission controller, just a standalone Compushift controller for it.
Yep.
It's very, very versatile. You have a ton of things that you can change and set up on it.
There's a lot of customization, a lot of adjustment in there.
Yeah.
And it's Bluetooth to an app on your phone. So you can change it all.
Yeah, and it's actually got like a display on your phone where you can look at it and see transmission temperature,
yeah,
throttle position, all the line pressure, all that stuff straight on your phone. So it's a pretty cool deal.
Really neat.
So we got that set up in here, and it comes with that button. Well, it didn't come with it, I guess.
We bought the button.
But it's essentially the same as like your tow haul on your truck. But you can hit that button and you can have mode A for normal driving, and then you can have mode B for whatever else you want. So the way we have it actually set up is electronically, you are able to make this a full manual valve body transmission. It uses the solenoids, but it works as a full manual valve body. So right now, in mode A, we cruise it down the road, everything works great. Lock up in 3rd or 4th gear, you can set it up either way there. Then when we get to the racetrack, if we want to manually shift it, you just hit that button, it goes into full manual, and then you shift it just like a turbo 350 that happens to have an overdrive. So really cool setup. That's what the button does.
And then while we're talking about the transmission and shifting,
look at this beautiful piece.
My beautiful Motion Raceworks shifter with my fancy purple grips.
We had to buy the shifter because of the purple grips.
Well, that's not the only reason why, but it was a different selling point.
Yeah, that is probably the nicest, smoothest working shifter that I have ever messed with. Yeah. So it's worth the money.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
And then, because this is a drag and drive car, cup holders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's your console you were talking about a minute ago.
Yeah.
That came out of the same car. So that's actually a Pontiac T1000 cup holder, or console. I'm sorry. And then you hit your dome light button. Amazon Speed Shop. So we got a little piece of carbon cut out on the gussets. We got those in there.
Yep.
We got 2 up front, and then there's 2 in the back. Lights up the cargo area.
Yep.
That works out pretty good.
Got the Purple Pro ones.
Yep. So we went 2-inch this time. You're thinking about probably wearing a neck restraint deal?
Yeah, probably, because, you know, better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, not necessarily fast enough where you have to have it, but I had to start wearing one last year in super gas, and I hated it for the first probably 2 or 3 passes, and then, you know, you kind of start thinking about safety, and
well,
it's not bad. It's definitely not a bad thing.
Yep. Let's see what else up here. Oh, new carpet. So this is a reproduction Chevette carpet that we found on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Got that put in. So we had been having issues with heat, and it would get terribly hot inside the car, like on us. So we got a bunch of insulation that we put under the carpet too, to help try to keep the heat off of us too. And when we put the 4L60 in, it kind of changed the angle of the transmission and the motor. So there's more, we can show you that in a minute.
The drive shaft angles were way out of whack.
Yeah,
before.
But under the way that it's angled kind of under the tunnel, the transmission tunnel, there's more airflow. So hopefully that'll help with some of our...
We'll talk more about cooling things that we did here in a minute, because we're smart.
Yeah, and then we put a power cutoff in the car.
That's from, where'd that button come from? Speedwire?
Speedwire.
But the actual kit came from Devin Vanderhoof.
Yeah.
It's just a remote relay setup for the battery, so you don't have like the old school on and off switch that you flip back and forth. It's just got the little push-pull deal. Mounted it on the side of the battery box, so we can show that here in a minute. But it is really cool that, you know, emergency-wise, or, I mean, that's a big thing. My deal is getting in and out of the car. You get in the car and strap in and then go, oh crap, I didn't turn on my power.
Yeah, somebody does that all the time in the super gas car.
Yeah, so.
Turn my power on.
But that is, that's pretty cool. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
We did put a, let's see if I guess you can kind of see here. Did put an MSD grid in it.
Yep.
So we've got the grid going through the regular old red brick 6AL.
Yes.
And there is a NOS Mini nitrous controller in there, progressive controller.
Yep.
So our thought with this deal is we can go to the mountains again, 5,000-6,000 feet. I guess that's physical. The DA up there was like 9,000, 10,000, something like that. It was ridiculous. But
crazy.
We can go somewhere like that and spray it, put it on a timer, and we can narrow it down, and we can go 12 flat like that.
Yep.
Or if we go to Florida, like we do here, maybe in a couple months.
Yeah, for 6 weeks.
If it's too fast, we can take the grid, pull some timing out,
and kind of slow it down.
Slow it down, you know, in increments to see what we need to do there. So,
yep.
We should be pretty versatile on this deal. Plus, back to the HGM controller for the transmission, we can adjust shift points.
Yeah, to whatever we want.
We can do that with you in the water box on my phone. So
yeah,
we can adjust shift points up and down, that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Kind of looking at this deal, trying to make it where we can do pretty much whatever we want to do with it. And I think that's part of the reason why it took so long to finish all this stuff, is because we were trying to make it
pretty versatile.
And we're trying to make it nice. And I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah, it turned out really good.
So we got the cool pedestal mount for the shifter going through the factory console. There's a piece of carbon in there. That was a little bit of a task because that thing was so brittle.
Yes.
That's a switch panel holder from Speedway that I bought some Amazon cup holders and drilled them out, put them in there. Speedway, I found out after the fact, I don't know how I missed that when I was on their website buying the switch panel deal. They actually sell a kit to do that, but I got my Amazon Speed Shop cup holders cheaper, so it worked out anyway. Just a little bit more work.
Gotta have cup holders for a drag and drive car.
Yep. So, got all that done.
Yep.
We go to the back.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so back here,
Not really a whole lot changed.
we put new carpet.
Yeah, and I'm not like super
He's not real thrilled with it.
happy with it because
It's better than what it was.
well, you can see like how flimsy it is.
It could be worse.
Yeah, the carpet up there, the actual Chevette carpet is way nicer. But you know, got the carbon back here. Same over here.
Got our fire extinguisher in there.
And this car is mini tubbed. I don't know if we've ever really gone over that, but it's mini tubbed to fit a 235. So small car problems.
Yeah.
We got the bottle and fire extinguisher. Got your Heisenberg.
Yes, and we got
That's the
cut off.
that's the electric cutoff deal from Vanderhoof. This is HCR, I think, is what his deal's called.
I believe so.
So this piece, the trim piece on the back,
Yep.
it's right here. Things are falling.
Funny story about this right here. So,
That was another YouTube video that we never made that we should have made.
yes, so
I might drop a couple clips of that in right here.
So that came out of another Chevette that we went to Oklahoma to go buy that we were going to build into a race car.
So here's the problem. I'm like probably 80% of the people watching this video right now, and I'm on Marketplace
all the time.
all day, all night, every day.
So
And
he
I
finds
stumbled
this
across
car.
a deal.
Okay.
It was a deal.
It was a really good deal, and the car was nice. You know, he works his deal over here. We bring this thing home, and we're
Well, we went there looking, thinking this was a $1,500 to $2,000 car. We got there, and it was a $500 car.
But we brought it home, and we made that thing nice-ish.
I mean, it was as nice as it could be. We that's where this came from.
But anyway, we stole pieces out of it that we needed.
Yeah, there's some pieces that you just can't buy.
Yeah.
You have to buy a car.
We have stuff on the shelf over there that we stole out of that car that we needed.
So we got all that, and then our original plan was I was going to put a 6-liter in it, 6-liter Power Glide, and I was going to go, I don't know, do something with it.
Yeah,
It'd go fast.
Well, instead, we got the little 4-cylinder and it running.
Yeah, we came home, went straight vice grip garage on it, and when I say that, I mean it was like legit vice grip garage on it.
Yeah, got it running, and then we ended up selling it.
Yeah, we got it running enough to drive it around just a tad bit, like around the house, and then yeah, we put it on the internet and got rid of it because I decided that was
going to be a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
So anyway, pieces were taken out of that car. We put the carbon fuel tank door in. We got a new Optima battery in there.
Shout out to Optima.
Shout out to Optima. We got a new fuel system.
Yeah, it's got a MagnaFuel 375, 300, 350, whatever that thing is.
Whatever.
The smaller version of the 500.
Yes, and then we got the Nitrous fuel system set up. We redid some of the lines and the fittings because the old ones were kind of just for peace of mind, we did some of that.
Get the old hood up right quick like.
Yeah.
Still a V6.
Motor's still the same. We didn't change anything there. But we rewired everything under here, and then we got the nitrous plate under the carburetor.
So there's the wide open throttle switch and the solenoids. The wiring comes out of there.
So we cleaned this up a lot.
Nitrous plate, and then that is the throttle position sensor. You see it bottom there moving. That's the throttle position sensor for the HGM controller, the CompuShift.
Yep.
So we got that. We actually wired up the wipers.
Motors.
So on the switch panel, there's a wiper. There's all the wiring tucked up nice and pretty.
Yep.
All this good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that hadn't changed a whole lot. We got low dollar motorsport sensors on everything.
Yep. Got all those hooked up and got all those configured in the dash. We did take the grill off and we moved the angle of the transmission fan a little bit to kind of help maybe get some more airflow through. We put about 40 street miles on this thing in the last couple days, and it seems to have been running pretty cool so far.
It typically, even on a cool day, it would run 190 pretty easy.
Get above what yesterday?
163 was the hottest I saw, and that was with the fan on one stage.
Yeah.
That's a two-stage fan. But we did some other things too. So we did, like she said, we kicked the transmission cooler forward to give a little bit more airflow through here underneath the transmission cooler, because before they were like flush mounted.
Yeah.
So we did that. That got more air hopefully in through the radiator. And then also I started messing with the transmission fan. And
we had a little bit of a realization.
This unit has been about 4,500 miles with the transmission fan blowing air forward, which is in front of the radiator. Now, the current on the motor was correct. However, I did not reverse the fan blade. I did not take the fan blade off, flip it over, and put it back on the correct way to make it a push instead of pull situation. So the motor was going the right way, but the fan blade was pushing more air forward than it was pulling it. So that may have been some of our heating and cooling issues too. The fact that it was basically acting, I think, like a windbreak.
Yeah.
But then you can kind of tell too, like she was saying earlier,
there's a big gap now.
There's a pretty big gap between the tunnel and the transmission, where before
it was
that 4L60 was in it. Or the Turbo 350 was in it. Yeah, it was all the way up in there.
So now there's more airflow. So hopefully that'll help with some of our heating too. And then we put more insulation on the headers, or well, I guess, yeah, the headers, collectors, whatever, down there. So hopefully that'll help too with some of our heating.
We talked about the wiper motor. So we wired that deal up.
So okay, it was wired before, and we turned them on, and when we did,
somebody had done some wiring on this prior to our purchase.
And when we turned it on, the arms under the dash were moving, and it started pulling the wires that whoever had wired this before ran through the arms that we didn't know ran through the arms. And
somebody just grabbed a wire and run them through the wiper linkage, and when I turned the wipers on, we went we let some smoke out of some things. So
we fixed all of that, and then we got it working, turned it on, got it all wired up and everything, and the wiper motor works. Well, then we put the wiper on.
Yep.
And it goes, and then it stops. So
we
if anybody's got a lead on a Chevette wiper motor.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to drive to East Texas and see if that that T1000's got one. So we wired up the wipers. We were real proud, and then our wiper motor's not strong enough to move the wipers.
Yeah.
Talk about exhaust.
Exhaust. So for the last 3 years, I think, we had been running around with blown out mufflers.
Yeah, we went to the scratching den at the summit.
Yes.
And they had a couple of Dynaflows, Dynapro, Dynamax.
Whatever they were just some cheap mufflers that we had bought, and we had them put on the car, and they did not last. They got pretty much blown out. And we really couldn't drive the car with the windows up because we would die from carbon monoxide.
Yeah, we had it dumped at the rear end underneath it.
So that caused a problem for us, especially when we were on race week in the mountains and it was raining and it was cold, and
we had to drive with the windows down.
Yes.
It was like 30-something degrees and raining, and we had the windows down.
It was terrible. So we had the exhaust redone. We got fancy new chrome tip here, and I got a Borla muffler on there, and it is actually ran and wide and comes into one muffler and then comes and dumps out here. We have some V-bands on there so we can take the muffler off and put a turn down on underneath if we need to, when we're at the track, if we need to speed it up or whatever. See if that helps. So
we're gonna back to back it with the turn down on it versus the muffler on it and see if it's any faster. But we were gonna do the cutout thing, and just, I don't know. I don't. This thing's obnoxious enough with a muffler on it, so I really don't see us driving it around wanting to hit the switch and open it up. So
I don't think we will. And it's not the V-band deal. It's so easy to take that off and on. So
we can get the muffler off this thing in about 2 minutes. Yeah. It's got one V-band clamp and one bolt.
Yeah.
On a support bracket. So we got a turn down for it. It's got a Borla XR1 on it.
And it sounds good, I think.
Sounds pretty good for what it is.
So hopefully that'll kind of help with the drone in the car and us being deaf when we get. We're probably still going. What am I talking about? We're still going to be deaf when we get out.
It's a lot quieter. But in the 40 street miles that we put on it so far,
we haven't been out of the car like yelling at each other because we can't hear. So
no, and we have cruised 70 and 75 with this thing at less RPM than what we were cruising at 60, 65 before.
So far it has been excellent. Cruising it around. So we're just trying to get some street miles on it, make sure everything's good before we take it to the track and go test it. But it's pretty exciting. We finally got this thing back together on the ground.
And you vaguely mentioned it earlier. I don't know that we've talked about it.
What?
Where we're going next month.
I don't know that we've talked about it either. So we have signed up for Sick Week in Florida at the end of January, beginning of February. So we're about 7 weeks out, I think.
Yeah, probably.
So we don't have a whole lot of time, but now that the car is actually on the ground moving, we're making sure we don't have any issues come up. I feel a lot better about us going.
Yeah.
So
it was supposed to make race week. We didn't have time, and we didn't want to rush anything because, like I said, we're pretty freaking happy with what we've done and how this car's turned out. I mean, I'm kind of biased, but I can just stand here and stare at all this newness. The shifter, the dash, the carbon. To be honest with you, the Holley Pro Dash has done a little bit of goofy stuff to me that I'm kind of like, I don't know. Not sold on it yet, but
I think it's just one of those deals we got to work.
It was not cheap, so it's staying, I guess. But
I mean, we could have made race week. However, we would have had to rush to finish a few things. This way, we were able to do the fuel system. And get a couple other things done that we wouldn't have been able to do if we would have taken it to race week. And now we're going to have time, a few weeks, to go test it and, drive it around, get more street miles on it and stuff. Yeah. Because if we would have taken it to race week, we wouldn't have had time to test it or do anything. And I just don't feel like that would have been very smart to do.
Which update, you know, if you guys follow along, we did go to race week.
We did go to race week
and
with the Camaro.
We kind of thought throughout the week the motor might have been getting tired because I kept giving it more timing and raising the shift, and
it was not really picking up. I mean, it was, but it wasn't not like it should have.
At the end of the week, I had a lot more timing in it, and it was shifting a lot higher than what it was earlier in the year in worse air, and it was going slower.
We finished 8th.
7th, 8th, something like that. I don't remember.
Out of like 40-something cars.
If you ain't first, you're last, so it is what it is.
And then we came home, and you took it to bracket finals the next week.
I did. I took it to the iTrade bracket finals and tried to race it, thinking, well, it made it last week. It'll make one more race, and
it did not make that race.
It slowed down 3/10 in 3 passes, and I drained the catch can on it. It had a lot of oil, and it had even more gas in it.
Yeah. But it made the drive home.
Yeah. I called my dad and told him to have the tow truck ready because I was fixing to start my 70-mile drive home. So we pulled the little race week trailer, and it made it home. But it's got a pretty substantial piston rattle in it. It's got a pretty good amount of blow by on it. So not sure what we did. I don't know if something's actually broke or if it's just tired and worn out. It was a police car before I got it, and then it lived through my teenage years, my 20s, and now into my 30s, and let's just say it's had
a rough life.
Yeah.
So now it's next in line. Well, I don't know, and maybe next in line.
We got
a new project coming.
And fun fact, we can probably document this next project because a lot of our projects stretch out or they don't get finished. We've already got a stack of parts for the next project, and it will be finished and done.
Okay, our dining room right now looks like a freaking speed shop.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. It's pretty exciting. We might be able to video and do some races next year because we're going to kind of jump into something where it's not our forte, but we're going to try it. So
should be interesting.
Anyway, that's pretty much the rundown on the Chevette, all the newness.
Yep.
Everything we got going on here. Pretty happy with how it turned out.
We do have some people to thank for helping us with this thing, because we could not have done this without the help of the awesome people that back us up. So Sonnax, for sure, for helping us with all the parts that they threw inside this transmission for us. Wendell at Mr. Wendell's Motorsports for putting the transmission together, and for going through all the Sonnax parts with us and making the video with us, explaining everything, what all the parts do. That was pretty cool. Mickey Thompson, we got Mickey on all 4 corners of this thing. AMSOIL, we've run all the AMSOIL stuff in this thing, and it's
front to back
perfect. Optima batteries, we got a fresh battery in this thing.
Yellow top.
Yellow top. Wayne Pratt Racing Engines, he keeps this little V6 going, and Lloyd at Elliott's Point Works, he's done stuff with us and helps us with our crazy ideas. And
when I call him, he goes, okay, instead of get the hell out of here. So
Circle D for our converter.
So side note on that, we called Dan and said, hey,
and Dan also our crazy
we're
idea.
putting a 4L60E in the Chevette. We don't know how much power it makes. We don't know anything really statistic wise that will help you.
Okay, we pretty much gave Dan like no information, and he knocked this thing out of the park.
It drives great.
Yeah, for sure. Our buddy Derek, he helped weld on some stuff and fabricate, and helps us bounce dumb ideas off of him.
Pretty sure I met him halfway to Longview to get that dash too.
Yeah,
he pulled the dash for us out of the other car
and whatever.
Yeah.
Your dad, John Sr., he came over and helped us with some 80s Chevette original wiring. He helped us chase down a bunch of stuff and parts and everything else. And then Mike with HGM Automotive Electronics, he hooked us up with the Compushift controller for the transmission.
That was another conversation. You're putting a what in a what?
Yes, he was super nice, super helpful, really knowledgeable, and I think he was kind of skeptical about what we were doing, but he was on board with it. So, and then PST drive shaft. So they hooked us up with the custom aluminum drive shaft, and they got it to us pretty quick. I think they also probably kind of thought we were a little crazy with what we were doing, but
we got an aluminum drive shaft with 1350 U-joints, so I think the car will flip over before it breaks that deal.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, and Sonnax, fun fact, all you Mustang Ford guys, Sonnax makes a 1350 U-joint flange that will bolt to an 8.8. So I don't know that anybody else makes that. They might. I don't know. If you don't, know anything about it, look it up. It's pretty freaking cool. So this deal does have 1350 U-joints bolted to the front of the flange on an 8.8. So
yeah,
pretty neat.
And then I do want to give a shout out to your mom, because she comes over and checks on us all the time, make sure we're still alive and that we eat. So when we're outside working on this thing. So
yeah, there's been some very, very long hours. That little stretch leading up to race week when we were trying to get this done was brutal. It was 110 degrees, 112 degrees outside.
We were out here every day after work. We were out here all weekend long. There was a few times we were out here. It was so hot during the day, we couldn't come out here, so we were out here way late at night. We were out here at was it 2?
Yeah, I think we worked 9 to 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then went to bed. I think I got up and came back out here and worked from 7 to 10 or 11. And then it's just rough time trying to get it done. But again, glad we didn't rush anything, because pretty happy at how it turned out, and we got pretty high hopes of how we can do with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're probably forgetting people, so I don't know. Just everybody who's helped us out in any way, whatever small thing, thank you, because it means a lot. And I can't wait to get this thing out there, make passes in it. I mean, even just the little bit we've driven it around the last couple days has been awesome. So I think we make a pretty good team. We do some pretty cool stuff, and I can't wait to go Sick Week. And
yeah, that's one of the things that I feel like I'm probably most proud of, is like you've said a few times,
we did this. Yep. So I think that's about it for this one.
Stay tuned. We got a month to Sick Week.
Yep.
We got another project coming that's going to be pretty interesting.
And then we got to get the Camaro fixed up.
Yeah, we're going to get the motor out of the Camaro. We're going to get that deal fixed up.
And hopefully soon we can start working on my grandpa's green truck again. So.
Yep. So plenty of projects. No time and no money, but plenty of projects. So stay tuned. We'll let you know how testing and everything goes for Sick Week.
Yep.
If you don't see us before then, we'll see you at SGMP in January.
Yep.